When I examine my list of video game backlogs, the most glaring title on that list is Remedy Entertainment's Alan Wake 2. Which is weird at first because I never beat the first game. But not so weird because I really enjoy their other titles like the Max Payne games or Control, which is their magnum opus in my opinion. However, Alan Wake 2 before now has been one of those aspirational games for me. The visuals of this game when showcased on top tier cards like the 5090 really makes me want to experience it despite the current cost barrier. Not to mention it is one of the most awarded games in the 2023 Game Awards. But I finally said to myself, you know what, let's just go for it. Let's play it on my 4-year-old rusty yet trusty RTX 2060 gaming laptop. And wow, this game is unlike anything else I've ever played. The burning question that gripped my mind after spending 20-something hours in the unsettling world of Alan Wake 2 was the elusive nature of its genre. Is this a survival horror game where I'm clinging onto scarce resources and dreading its dark and claustrophobic biomes? Or is this an action-adventure game where my eyes lit up with its stunning presentation and interwoven storytelling? My curious mind persistently demanded resolution of this genre ambiguity. Is this a bad thing though? Of course not. This question arose because how masterfully Remedy has blended elements from these two genres that defy simple categorization. But I will make it simple. This is a Remedy game. They have created a new genre, the Remedy genre. Not only have they crafted a sequel to a long-awaited intellectual property, they celebrate their past work in Max Payne and other IPs such as Control. The fact that they have Sam Lake, one of the writers and the director of this particular game, not to mention one of the most good-looking men I've ever seen, playing the role of Alex Casey, voice acted by Max Payne himself, James McCaffrey. The fact that they have sprinkles and footsteps of the Federal Bureau of Control all over the place. Or the fact that I only played the original Alan Wake for 2 hours and I know who Alice is and what happened to her. It does so much fan service through this title that makes it a Remedy game through and through. I mean, sure, it has the typical survival horror tropes like scarcity of resources, a significant emphasis on meticulous exploration, and this feeling of ever-present vulnerability. But at the same time, Alan Wake 2 sets itself apart through innovative mechanics like Saga's Mindplace and Alan's Writer Room, which cleverly eliminate the conventional clutter of typical video game menus. They have reinvented video game puzzle solving here. The way you meticulously piece together evidence as Saga Anderson, navigating that incredibly detailed world, and then synthesize it all in the Mindplace to finally comprehend and close the case is not just gameplay, it's a truly captivating work of interactive art. However, the writer's room elevates this brilliance even further, showcasing how Alan's typewriter acts as a conduit, molding the very fabric of the story Remedy has so masterfully presented. To traverse these spaces and then in an instant behold Alan's narrative become physically woven into the world around you, the environment dynamically shifting and reforming without a single hiccup is an experience that truly transcends mere gameplay and enters the realm of interactive magic. And it is so vital because you can't progress with the story if you don't mix and match and experiment with the given scenes to eventually find the right combination. And the right combination tells a story that daringly oscillates between the absurdly dumb, the outright goofy, the deeply horrifying, and moments of raw, self-inflicted torment. But precisely in that audacious refusal to commit to a single tone, in what might initially feel like chickening out, lies its captivating beauty. We will talk more in depth about the story a little bit later. Another cool aspect of Alan Wake 2's gameplay is how light remains a central mechanic in the game, how it is showcased as a warm blanket of safety in contrast to darkness, where danger lurks in the shadows. I do think this mechanic is a little overrated in the sense that it presents itself as the first course of action before you can finally fire the amazing weapon you just found in the lockbox. And that leads to my disappointment with the gameplay. I would like more quote-unquote games here. Maybe it's the survival horror in experience speaking, but sometimes I feel like the shotgun and bow, for example, are these amazing tools that are just out of reach too often in Alan Wake 2. It's like having a really cool gadget that you only get to use in very specific situations. I just wish those situations cropped up a bit more frequently. Ultimately, Alan Wake 2 curves its own niche by artfully overlapping genre categorization. It is a fusion unlike no other, and this fusion creates a memorable and unsettling experience that lingers long after the credits roll. Hey folks, just a quick ask, if you're liking the content, would you consider subscribing? Every single subscriber gets me closer to that 1000 mark, and I'd be incredibly grateful for your support. Okay, appreciate it. Now let's jump back into the video. Speaking of memorable and unsettling experiences, the biggest contributor to that is the game's presentation in every single front you can pinpoint. Alan Wake 2 is a visual and auditory masterpiece. This is the most photorealistic video game I have ever played, with visuals that are both stunning and deeply unsettling in their realism. The game paints a world ripe with foreboding. This is amplified by an immersive soundscape, a tapestry of chilling whispers and impactful silences that works in tandem to forge an atmosphere of unparalleled dread and suspense, gripping you from start to finish. As I mentioned at the start of this video, I'm playing this game on an RTX 2060 gaming laptop, and can you guess what settings I'm running this game on? I'm playing this at the lowest setting, at 1440p and DLSS balanced, locked at 30 FPS. It blows my mind how good it looks even at such settings. Yes, it did drop below 30 FPS during those initial hours you play as Saga Anderson, but after that, it is just flawless 30 FPS. This is an incredibly polished and optimized game. Even stripped down to their barest visual form on the lowest settings, the game's environment still managed to convey an unbelievable level of detail and atmosphere. The game's stunning visuals seamlessly transition from the lush, rain-soaked forests of the Pacific Northwest to the terrifyingly surreal and nightmarish landscapes of the Dark Place, each rendered with incredible detail. There are moments where the visuals were so breathtaking, such as the entire Ocean View Hotel section, which dynamically shifted based on your in-game choices with an uncanny seamlessness. Similarly, the atmosphere of Watery felt palpably real and deeply immersive, a stark contrast to the surreal and unsettling experience of visiting the otherworldly Coffee World amusement park. The result is an experience that doesn't just feel hyper-immersive, it draws you in, with environments and elements that feel specifically chosen and perfectly situated to enhance the overall atmosphere and narrative. Having recently played Horizon Forbidden West for my last video, a game I consider to be among the most visually stunning I've ever played, I can confidently state that my subsequent playthrough was of another title equally and maybe more deserving of that distinction. Alan Wake 2 from a presentational standpoint is remarkable and one of the striking visual achievements in modern video games. Same applies for the character models, who look great both in-game and cinematics. I spent so much time exploring Bright Falls, in particular with Saga, and I was blown away by how expressive the faces and movement of the NPCs and supporting characters are. Though the character models are a visual feast in themselves, the live-action footage stand out as a significant element in Alan Wake 2's unique visual identity and presentation. The way it seamlessly blends with both cinematic and gameplay moments without the slightest disruption is simply astonishing. Just the Remedy Entertainment identity shining through and through. What's so brilliant about this live-action footage is their simultaneously eerie yet goofy nature, possessing a deliberate B-grade movie production quality that somehow fits perfectly and feels entirely intentional within the game's world. And let's talk about the jump scares. Good heavens. The way these noir, stylized, terrifying visages suddenly appear, seemingly out of nowhere, is intensely effective. Creates an atmosphere of pure dread. The sheer quality and originality of this game's presentation are undeniable. It offers an experience that feels completely fresh and distinct. Unlike anything else, the keyword I'm using for this video isn't just rhetoric, it's the feeling the game leaves you with. Let's now discuss the story, which I consider the game's most crucial element, the axis around which everything turns. The storytelling in Alan Wake 2 is in my view some of the best I've ever witnessed in our beloved medium. And its power comes not just from the writing or characters, as it does in most games, but from its groundbreaking method of delivery. To properly appreciate the nuances of this incredible narrative, it's essential that we first establish a foundational understanding of its core elements and setup. The narrative of Alan Wake 2 is a complex tapestry rich with layers that gradually reveal themselves through two parallel yet interwoven storylines. Players are uniquely positioned to experience this duality by stepping into the roles of two captivating protagonists. Alan Wake, the creatively tormented writer, imprisoned within the oppressive and surreal landscape of the dark place, whose writing has the ability to shape realities. On the other hand, we have Saga Anderson, a tenacious FBI agent tasked with unraveling a disturbing pattern of ritualistic killings in the seemingly tranquil setting of Bright Falls. From Alan's perspective, his path to liberation from the dark place, a nightmarish realm born from his own creative subconscious, lies in his ability to literally write his way out, leading to some of the most profoundly mind-bending and surreal sequences ever conceived in a game. And I mean it. This narrative is a mindfuck at times, and it is so unpredictable and weird that I just sit there and scratch my head out of confusion. But again, there's this beauty to that confusion, because it's all intentional. In stark contrast to Alan's surreal odyssey, Saga's narrative offers a grounded perspective, and to be honest, I prefer a more grounded approach. As a sharp and intuitive FBI agent, she is called to Bright Falls to investigate a series of ritualistic murders that shatter the town's peaceful facade, revealing a sinister underbelly. Saga possesses a remarkable ability to mentally profile suspects and reconstruct events, a skill that propels her down a twisting rabbit hole of conspiracies, cult activities, and terrifying supernatural forces as she peels back the layer of Bright Falls' dark secrets. Her story is a compelling blend of classic detective work and supernatural horror, brimming with suspense, intricate intrigue, and moments of genuine, chilling terror. The narrative brilliance of Alan Wake 2 stems from its intricate dance between two seemingly separate yet deeply connected realities. As players navigate both Alan's tormented existence within the dark place and Saga's unsettling investigation in Bright Falls, the subtle tendrils of connection begin to weave together, revealing a shared underlying truth. The choices Alan makes in his distorted world cast long shadows into Saga's investigation, and her discoveries in Bright Falls resonate within Alan's prison. This interwoven structure breeds a growing sense of unease and foreboding as players realize the intertwined fates of these two compelling characters. Here's my 2 cents on the characters though. They're incredible as well, but I don't think they're vital to its rich storytelling. It is a curious design choice that neither Alan Wake, Saga Anderson, nor even recurring figures like Alex Casey are particularly deeply fleshed out characters in the traditional sense. Instead, the true characterization and depth reside within the environments themselves. The vividly realized Bright Falls and the oppressively detailed Dark Place. Consequently, the individual inhabitants of this world often feel somewhat interchangeable, a departure from the character-centric narratives prevalent in most single-player games. This deliberate prioritization of setting over individual character development is arguably a key element that contributes to the game's unique identity. To conclude, the game masterfully oscillates between the surreal horror gripping Alan and the grounded suspense surrounding Saga, crafting a narrative tapestry so rich and compelling that it keeps players guessing, captivated, and questioning every revelation until the very last moment. Simply put, the storytelling on display here elevates this game to a pinnacle of the medium, a masterclass in interactive narrative design.
Man, thank you for one of the strangest interviews of my entire career, Alan.
While I typically skip DLCs in my videos due to their often disposable nature, the expansions for this particular game felt so crucial and integral to the experience that I had to cover them. What truly stands out about these expansions is without a doubt how beautifully they celebrate their intellectual property and the thoughtful way each one weaves into the other, creating this wonderfully connected universe. This game features two main expansions. The first, Night Springs, directly ties into a fictional series often seen while exploring the main game. It has 3 episodes and each of them is super cool. The first episode throws you into this almost surreal, Barbie-esque version of Bright Falls, where you step into the shoes of Alan's biggest fan. And what do you get to do? Some gloriously mindless shooting. Something I was itching for in the main story, and they absolutely delivered here. Props to the developers for that satisfying inclusion. The moment the second episode started, and I realized I was playing as Jesse Faden, I was instantly pumped. Getting to explore this bizarre and supernatural version of the coffee world as her, with footprints of Control, was such a fantastic experience. I'm a big fan of Control. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a similar video on Control. I'd love to do it for you guys. So the third and final episode features Sheriff Tim Breaker, a character who makes some seriously weird appearances throughout the main game. Since I haven't played Quantum Break, a lot of this episode went over my head, to be honest. But the real shocker? It seems Remedy Entertainment has decided to go by Poison Pill Entertainment now. Why? Your guess is as good as mine. Moving on, the next expansion, The Lake House, puts you in the role of FBC agent Kiran Estevez, or as I'll likely refer to her, the Janina Gavankar character, due to the trickiness of that spelling, as she investigates an FBC research facility right on the shores of Cauldron Lake. For me, this was the most compelling of the expansions. It masterfully blends the established lore and unique aesthetics of Control with the intense psychological horror that Alan Wake 2 does so well. What's even cooler is how it further expands on Remedy's connected universe theory and even gives us a glimpse of what's to come in Control 2. Clocking in at around 6 hours for completion, this expansion, like the others, really showcases the super cool multiverse they have built over the years, and I had an absolute blast playing through it. Alright, Alan Wake 2. This game is a once-in-a-lifetime experience where I'm always at the edge of my seat. This is not a game that I want to replay every year like I do with most games that have a lasting impression on me, but it is still one of the most unforgettable gaming experiences I've ever been a part of. When I have been playing through this game, what ran through my mind is why haven't I played this game before? Why did I wait this long? The production value of this game is so high. It is the best $30 I've spent in my life. Remedy Entertainment has gone from an A-tier studio to an S-tier with this. They have truly outdone themselves. They have ticked every box needed to create an utter masterpiece that this game is. Their connected universe storytelling has intrigued me so much that I cannot wait to see what they do with this IP in the near future. And I can't wait for their next game. I'm guessing it is Control 2. To end, Alan Wake 2 is simply an experience without parallel. A non-negotiable playthrough for fans of both survival horror and quality single-player games. It stands as a vibrant celebration of the video game art form, boldly pushing its creative limits and elevating the medium to new heights of immersive storytelling and artistic impact. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to this channel. I work really hard on these videos and your engagement will mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for your time. Rakzplayz signing off.
Is it over?